I'm Amanda Knox.
And I'm Christopher Robinson.
And this
is Who's Right? Between our usual Labyrinths episodes, we sit down to debate something quite serious.
Or silly.
And ask you, who is right?
It's me.
It's me.
It's me.
It's clearly me.
No, definitely me.
It's me.
Me?
No, me.
It's me.
How could it be anyone but me?
Says the man sleeping on the couch. Happy New Year!
Or just a new year.
Yeah, you've had that attitude. Chris had a really fun New Year's Eve, and his New Year's Day was not so fun.
No, it wasn't. I paid for that New Year's Eve on New Year's Day.
For the record, we were just being super nerdy. We just played a D&D game. It was awesome.
It was awesome.
It was super fun. I liked my character. I was a monk. I should play monks more often.
I was a bard.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Figures.
As per usual.
So, today we're not going to disagree about something because we're trying to start the new year off with a spirit of
concordiality.
Yes, concordiality.
There you go. That's what I'm here for. I'm Shakespeare. What is the actual word concordiality is meant to convey? This is an SAT
not
question.
Cordialness.
No, it's concordiale.
Cordiality.
Cordiality.
Yeah, you added a con from the Italian.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so the thing that we're going to talk about instead is our New Year's Eve tradition. So people have many traditions. A lot of them have to do with resolutions. I think we actually talked about this a little bit last year when I think we debated last year, what do we feel about resolutions? We are not doing that this year. Instead, we are telling you what our words for the year are and why we have chosen them. So to give some background on this, every year we choose a sort of guiding word for the year. And last year...
Like a focus word.
Yeah, a focus word.
You know?
Like not exactly a mantra, but certainly a word that is aspirational or...
Like a North Star.
Yeah. So last year mine was balance and yours was...
Accept.
How did we do?
Not very good on my part.
I think I did admirably well on my part. I chose a good word last year because I was juggling so much. And I think I knew I was going into a year of having to juggle a lot. So I was just like, balance. Balance being a mom, balance being a wife, balance being a podcaster, balance being a writer, balance this Hulu show. Like all of these things were going on. And they're all big things that require a lot of attention. So... I think I succeeded, because I was able to accomplish all of those things, obviously with help. But the thing I don't think that I really succeeded in, which brings me to what my new word for, I'm not going to say what my word is yet, but I'm going to say what I feel like I failed with, which is I balanced everything, but I ended up feeling utterly strung out, wrung out, overburdened, and cranky as a result. So I was in fact balancing, but
you didn't
I was
manage work-life balance though. Is that it?
No, I don't think that that's it at all, because I think I was there for the kids, and I attempted to be there for you.
What would have made you not feel that way? Just less things to balance?
Well, I'm going to get into this when I get into what I'm going to talk about as my new word for the year. And I think I know what this is because I was actually... So anyway, the feeling that I came away from last year was, yes, I balanced all these things, but like the sheer weight of all the things just felt like I was burdened. And I felt mentally and emotionally burdened in a way that sort of eclipsed my ability to feel gratitude for having all of these things. Like sometimes I was just like, oh my God, I just want to put it all down, and I knew I couldn't, So that's how I both succeeded and failed last year.
Let's get to my failures first before the new words.
Let's get to your successes and failures of last year.
So mine was accept, and the big reason why I went with accept was because having a second kid really just transformed our lives in a huge way and made it so that...
Would you say it was more so than having a first kid?
Yes. Yeah. I mean...
Which is wild when you think about it. Going from 0 to 1 kid is a big deal.
It was a big deal, but I felt like I still had me time because we could tag team the kid, or even when we were both with Eureka, we were able to do so and manage her emotions and things in a much more effective way. And with 2, I just felt like I've never had a second to rest.
Yeah, it's definitely exponential kid.
Right. And not only that, but then my ability to help manage the desires and fears and whatever of the children is impeded because there's just more. And so
accept was coming from a place of...
wanting to accept that this is my life and that I made the decisions that got me here.
This
and
is
that,
the plot of Shrek 4, by the way,
I mean, it's...
which I hadn't seen because it came out when I was in prison. And it's a great movie.
It's the plot of many great human dramas, honestly. Maybe it's the plot of the human drama, which is, this is your life, dude. Yeah. Get used to it.
Shrek has a midlife crisis.
Yeah.
And Chris is having a midlife crisis at 42. Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, some days it felt like I was on the ball in terms of like, okay.
This is it. This is my life and I'm doing it. Yeah.
But especially as the year came to a close, I found myself more and more like falling into the trap of just wishing my life wasn't what it was. And wishing that I had time to go for a run or to just take a long, luxuriant shower or to read a book, you know, and I don't have that time because I'm working, because I'm helping with the kids, because I'm just, you know, fulfilling my obligations to all the people in my life and the obligations I've created for myself.
Yeah. By having people in your life.
Yeah. And, you know, I know theoretically, intellectually that my well-being depends on accepting what my circumstances are. And yet it's so easy to fall into that trap, which is why I made myself that focus word. So like coming into the new year here, I'm not feeling great about how successful I was at that.
Okay. So you gave yourself a new word, which is?
Begin.
Tell me about it.
Well, one of the things...
Do it.
Yeah.
Actually do it.
One of the things in meditation that I remind myself of frequently is just begin again. Your mind started wandering. You told yourself you were going to sit here and focus on your breath. And then like 2 breaths later, you're thinking about the thing you have to do later, you know, or you're lost in some daydream or some anxiety dream, whatever it is. And no judgment, just begin again. So that's one part of it for me is just don't judge myself for whatever my failures have been, for not accepting my life as it is, for feeling stressed, for snapping at you, or letting the kids like get on my nerves instead of bring me joy because of my own framing of the situation that I put there. Just begin again. Start over. And also begin because there's things I want to do and accomplish that I know you just have to begin. Like they don't get done unless you just start one foot in front of the other.
Well, what are some of those things that you want to do this year?
I mean, I want to write another novel.
Can you write the novel about the Zen priest who solves the mystery?
Yes, I want to write.
I want that one.
I want to write this. I have a novel idea I've been ruminating on, and I have like an outline, a pretty comprehensive outline, but
does it have a good twist?
It has a great twist.
I'm excited.
But I just have to write it. And the only way to write it is to just begin. And the only way to continue writing it is to just begin again each time you sit down to do it. I also want to write a TV pilot, and there's a bunch of stuff I want to do.
You've already started working on the TV pilot.
And I've started working on the novel too. But it's just like, even so, like I woke up today and did my to-do list of things I have to do. And it's like, well, I have to prepare 1099s for our business. And you know, it's like, unfortunately, that kind of crap has an urgency on my attention more so than does putting a page into the novel. I have to file our W-2s, like I have to do that or the government's going to be mad at me. The government's not going to be mad at me if I don't write the novel. So I did not, as of today, begin working on that. I'm still trying to come out from under the mountain of email that collapsed on me during the holiday.
Yeah, fair.
So that's my word, begin. And I'm not going to judge myself for failing to begin.
Because you can begin again.
Yeah. And that's how I have thought about my kind of downer New Year's Day of like, it's supposed to be, you start the year off fresh. And like Amanda was all chipper and like, it's going to be a great year. And like, and I was just like.
And he was like, fuck you.
Yeah. But secretly in my head, I was thinking, you know what? Tomorrow will be my New Year's Day. Okay. I'm going to start New Year's on January 2nd.
Okay. Well, you have been noticeably more chipper today than yesterday, but you were not.
No.
You were the opposite of chipper yesterday. You were dipper.
Yep. I'm still not chipper yet.
No, you're not. I'm just saying more chipper.
I'm getting there. So your word.
So my word. So the feeling of being weighed down.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that also, similarly, that is less a factor of the many things that I'm juggling and more a factor of mindset. And there was something that at the Zendo, when Koshin was giving the Dharma talk, he just mentioned, it was in a completely different context, but he mentioned the word light-footed. Mm. And it occurred to me that I hadn't heard that word before, and it just, or not word before, but I hadn't heard that word light-footed used in a long time, and it just kind of stuck with me as like, oh man, I want to be light-footed. And so my word for the year that I chose is nimble, because I think that if I adopt a mindset where instead of feeling like I'm carrying so much weight, like that character from Encanto, the sister who's like super strong, but just like, I think it's called Surface Pressure.
Yeah.
I love that song.
Great song.
Great song. Highly relate to that song.
Yeah.
Especially last year. And thinking, I can carry all of this and still feel light. Like I think what I was telling myself that I was overburdened. And instead I wanted to feel like, well, when you're juggling, you're not actually holding anything for very long. You're just taking a thing and putting it up and taking it and putting it up and taking it and putting it up. And so I think what I want to imagine now as I move through the years, I'm still balancing all of these very important and precious parts of my life, but I'm going to carry them nimbly and light-footedly and sort of have a spirit of lightness that I haven't really felt in the past year as I was trying to balance things, because this balance is a thing that has all the weight on it and it's just sort of sitting there. Mm-hmm. And so instead I want to be like...
And you only have so many hands and you find yourself holding one thing between your elbow and your ribs while you're,
Yeah, and instead it's more like, no, I'm juggling. Jack me nimble, Jack me quick, jump over the candlestick. And I like the idea of being nimble also because it suggests adaptability. Mm-hmm. Like, something happens, it comes at you, and you can either let it hit you or you can sort of dance around it and figure out how to work with it and move with the thing that's going. It's a very Taoist idea of like, whatever forces are coming your way, they're not good or bad. You just have to learn how to flow with them. And I'm thinking about that a lot in terms of the upcoming verdict that is going to be happening this month. Hey, listeners. Thanks for tuning in. This podcast would not exist without your support.
We're all navigating our own personal maze.
And you don't have to be stuck in a prison cell to feel trapped in your own life.
Our mission with Labyrinths is to find growth and resilience through trauma. And we do that with a commitment to our core values.
Curiosity in a time of outrage. Compassion as a tool for understanding.
And the courage to ask hard questions and avoid easy answers. Please consider becoming a patron. Visit patreon.com/KnoxRobinson. For as little as $5 a month, you can get ad-free episodes and join our online community.
We even offer signed books and live monthly video hangouts. So please, grow with us. Join our community. Visit patreon.com/KnoxRobinson. And trying to not be attached to any outcome, but know that I can, really know deep down that I can adapt and flow with whatever verdict comes down, which is a lot
be hard
for me, considering that this is, I don't get another shot at clearing my name, and I can inevitably find myself attached to that outcome. But who knows? We'll see. And I think I can dance around it no matter what it is, I think.
Do you want to linger there for a minute?
Because I'm about to cry. You're like, "Oh, this is gold." You jerk. What do you want to ask me about it? So it's...
Well, I mean, we're not planning on doing an episode or something about this. We might do something in the wake of it, but how are you feeling aside from...
I've been having nightmares.
Yeah.
I've been having nightmares about getting a bad verdict and just sort of living the rest of my life with this shadow hanging over me. This scarlet letter. And having that be a thing that people, we're trying to go to Australia, right? Later this month. And it's to interview another wrongly convicted person in Australia. And it's been a fucking nightmare because I had to go through the criminal background check, and it has required me to prove that I am not a fucking criminal to them. And they have really strict standards. I have to, they've asked for me to get FBI profiled and to get... It's
kind of ironic
references.
Given the founding of Australia.
Don't point that out to them because they'll get mad at me some more. But it has been a fucking nightmare. And I hate the fact that I continue to live consequences for a crime I did not commit. And
yeah, just to clarify for anyone out there who's not up on this, this is the slander conviction for, defamation conviction Amanda had that was upheld when she was acquitted of murder, that was later overturned. It was Italy was sanctioned by the European Court of Human Rights for violating her rights to a translator and a lawyer. Then Italy overturned that defamation conviction in 2023. Amanda was retried in 2024, reconvicted, and is now appealing to the Italian Supreme Court. And, the worst impact this can have sort of logistically on our lives is minimal because she can't be sentenced back to prison.
No,
It'll be max time served, but it's a psychic cost and it's a reputational cost.
And it's a logistical cost in that I don't have a clean record.
Yeah, I guess there's that. Yeah.
So,
I mean, when people say things to you like, "Oh, why don't you just leave this all in the past? Why don't you just move on?" And
I mean,
yeah.
A part of me doesn't even want to deign that with a response because it's such a short-sighted and ignorant question. But I want to give people the benefit of the doubt and let them know that living with a false conviction is horrific, personally, psychologically, emotionally, and also just being a person in the world. And So, like, if you can fight it, fight it. And I'm fighting it. And we'll see what happens. But yeah, no, I have to like really sort of empathize and have compassion for the person who asks me that kind of question. Because it's just coming from a place of like zero empathy and zero knowledge. And you know what? Like, I have compassion for people who don't know what they don't know. So anyway.
You think being nimble is going to help you?
Yes.
If it doesn't go the way you want?
Yeah, because I feel like I'm anticipating, I can see myself going into a really dark place if I don't approach the verdict day with the kind of mindset of there's no good news or bad news, there's just news, and you respond to it as best you can. So that's how I'm going into this year. And at the same time, having fingers crossed, but at also knowing that it's not going to be the end of the world either way.
Yeah.
So let's move on. That's my word for the year. So nimble.
It reminds me of this, of the word li, which is in Taoist philosophy, I believe I have this right, isn't
that flow or something?
It's the word for the pattern in nature, like the grain of wood or the markings in jade, the natural grain of something. And it's used in a way to talk about...
Don't go against the grain, go with the grain,
like, if you're carving wood or if you're, cutting sashimi or if you're trying to swim on an actual river, like move with the flow in some way. Jiu-jitsu is similar to this. You're interacting with someone else's energy and redirecting it and shaping it rather than trying to just...
don't bang your head against something that is resisting you. Like, go with it.
And that doesn't mean you don't, resist forces that...
you redirect it.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the political situation we're in, it's like I think the attitude I'm seeing a lot is just like, put up a wall, put up the barricade. It's time to just fight fire with fire sort of thing. And that's a very different way of approaching a problem than looking for the li of the situation, looking for the way the forces are angled, how they're all interacting with each other, and then seeing what's the jiu-jitsu way to do that? What is this sailing way? It's sailing versus rowing, basically. Rowing is a very unintelligent way of trying to... you dumb rowers, you row bros. I have a rowing machine.
We probably have many rowing fans who hate you now. Rowing's the best, man.
I have an erg upstairs, which I need to do. It's part of my begin and get back on that. But, sailing is intelligent in the sense that it is looking at the forces that exist around you and harnessing them in a way, even when you want to move in a direction that is different from the way those forces are going. That's what makes it clever, right? Rowing is just, I'm going this way regardless of the current and regardless of the wind, and I'll just go harder if I need to go that way and the currents don't want me to. And you could do that too, but I prefer sailing. Even though, metaphorically, right? And so I'm wondering what you think of the coming year, what you think of those forces and how they affect you and personally and societally. Like, what do you see as the matrix of forces that are shaping things for the world and for us and for you? And how are you going to react to them?
That's too big of a question for a who's right. What are you talking about? I'm not answering that question.
Just opting out of my question.
Yeah, I'm opting out of that question because that is beyond the scope of this who's right episode. I'm just saying that...
Okay, let's narrow it to like your life then. What are the forces like moving around you?
They are the burdens that I'm carrying. So...
Burdens?
Well, the things that I have they are my responsibilities and the things that, I mean, I have my work, I have my family, I have my legal battle. So my relationships, my work, and my trauma. And those are the forces in my life. And I'm trying to be nimble about navigating them.
I mean, maybe the question is like, you know, the whole there's no good news or bad news thing you just brought up. Like, I remember you challenging yourself in the wake of the June verdict to think, is it possible that this is actually good news that I just got reconvicted? Like, looking ahead, can you imagine that somehow not getting to definitively clear your name is actually, in the end, good?
I mean, I've had fantasies about changing laws in Italy, sure. But like, another part of me is like, but you could do that while also acquitted. So,
well,
but I would be very motivated. Yeah, I can imagine that.
I'll cross that bridge.
I'll cross that bridge when I get there. I'm not there yet. But I'm the kind of survivor who survives because I find a way, not because I'm strong or because whatever. I just find a way. I'm like water.
Yes.
Find a way.
That comes back to your flow thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well.
All right. Let's begin that.
Yeah. We're curious what your traditions, resolutions, focus words are.
Yeah. I want to know what people, if they were going to give themselves a word for the year, what would it be? Give yourself a word for the year. Not what would it be. Just give yourself a word for the year. Tell us what it is. Yeah.
You know where to find us.
At amandanox.com. I was about to say at amamanox, but that's Instagram. So it's amandanox.com.
And we're on Bluesky at wisecracker.bsky.social.
At amandanox.com.
On Instagram at mccarbon.
At amamanox.
And we're going to keep plugging away at this thing into 2025. We've got some exciting stuff coming up for you. We'll be rambling. We'll be deep diving. We'll be laughing and crying. Join us.